Time to get into the Action Network luck rankings. Our analysts grade teams using what's called luck percentage, which is the difference between expected and actual win percentage. Unlucky teams are often undervalued when there's a large luck disparity between them and their opponents. There's the explainer. It's helpful every week. Nick Giffen is here. He is part of our predictive analytics team at Action Network. Start us off, Nick, as we always do. At this point in the year, we're deep into the season. The top three luckiest teams in the NFL are who?
Well, first, I mean, we should get into the fact that two of the top three, were from the state of Pennsylvania last week and lost. And our luck rankings trends both showed those games as luck matchups. So if you bet on San Francisco over Philadelphia to cover, Arizona to cover versus Pittsburgh, you had a great day. So that changed the luck rankings a little bit. That means number one now is no longer the Pittsburgh Steelers. For the first time in a long time, the new number one luckiest team is the Philadelphia Eagles. So even though they lost by, 23 points, they're now the luckiest team in the NFL. And that's because they're still 7-1 in one-score games. That loss to San Francisco, definitely not a one-score game there. So that just still having that really insane record in close games is part of why they're lucky. If you look at, Pythagorean expectation for Philadelphia, just using their points for and points against, they're should be only about a 60% win team, and using expected score, it's even just a tick lower than that. So they've been winning close games, and their losses, they've won close loss and then they got blown out. So that's kind of where they are. Number two, the Pittsburgh Steelers do fall out of the top spot for the first time since week 3. They have been in their last 3 games just a 1-2 record, and the luck percent has dropped by nearly 12%. So remember when everybody was saying, "Oh, but Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh's the luckiest team every year. It's Mike Tomlin. It's not luck." They're regressing just as we expect, just they've done every year when they're up there near the top. So I don't think it's a Mike Tomlin thing. I think it's literally just they've been lucky sometimes and several times in the past few years, and they've regressed every year that they've been up there. So just one of those things.
Can I steal a quick line just to chime in quickly?
Absolutely.
A quick line from Anthony DeBundo. It's not the rah-rah Mike Tomlin spot. It's the blah-blah Mike Tomlin spot.
And I'm going to ask
DeBundo. He's got me on that.
I'm not a big fan of coaching trends. I know Sean and I have talked about this, but Tomlin as a favorite, he has struggled. And there was another one there where as a favorite, they lost, and they're favorite again this week. We'll talk about that one. But number 3 in the luck rankings, the Indianapolis Colts cracked the top 3 for the first time this year. They're 5-2 in one-score games, and each of the last 3 games they've played have all been one-score wins. So they're quickly climbing up the luck ladder here, the Indianapolis Colts.
Can I just butt in for a second, Nick? So you're telling me that Philadelphia's performance, and they get pummeled, but it's almost like because they got pummeled, that reinforced how lucky they were. Is that kind of how?
Yeah, they deserved to lose that game, so they didn't really get unlucky there. Whereas Pittsburgh, they were the number 1 team in the luck rankings coming into last weekend, but they lose 24-10. However, our expected score had them winning by 2 points. So Pittsburgh was the unluckiest team of week 13. I'm trying to remember what week we're in here. That's why I'm talking so slow. But if Pittsburgh is always so lucky and it's Mike Tomlin, how are they the unluckiest team in a week? If it's Mike Tomlin, that shouldn't happen, right? So no, it really is just it reinforces that it's just luck. That's why that team has been up at the top and had such good records, and they're regressing as they always do.
Yeah, that was kind of set up for Philadelphia too. Their 3rd game in 13 days, and they played a very formidable team.
I'm not sure how Philly wasn't on notice from you guys. I mean, you just put Dallas on notice there, Tim, and they just won against a good team, and Philadelphia gets absolutely destroyed and isn't on notice.
You know what, Nick, you're
into
right.
A game
Nick's
against
right.
Dallas.
No,
I could have gone against him. You're right. Yep.
He's wrong because I'll tell you what, this is the best thing about betting, right? When we get angry at these teams or, put them in a spot like that, like Glass just said the thing about San Francisco. Oh, it was a great spot for them. Really, really bad spot for Philly. The biggest bet I made of the entire season was on San Francisco in that game. So I was not going to I thought that would be the result. So it's all about.
Yeah, but now Philly's in danger of potentially dropping out of the 1 seed, losing home field advantage. That's something they need to be on notice for.
The division,
Okay.
the division is in question now.
Yeah.
But this is who I thought they were because I listen to people like you. This is who I thought they were. So
fair point.
It's all about expectations.
Fair, very fair. We have identified a luck matchup, and it pertains, Nick Giffen, to Thursday night's game, which you have tons of thoughts on.
Oh, I love this game. Everybody says it's going to be an ugly game, whatever. Give me this game. I love it. I got so many angles on this game. That is New England versus Pittsburgh, of course, on Thursday Night Football. This game, New England is the unlucky team, obviously, because Pittsburgh's number 2 in the luck rankings, and New England is 29 in the luck rankings. So that is a luck difference of 27, a luck gap of 41%. When the luck gap is at least 30% in week 13 or later, the unlucky team covers 27-7-2 record there. So just a monstrous record, 20 games above 500. And that actually improves to 15-1-1 against the spread if that team is also on the road. And of course, the Patriots are on the road here. So just a spot where all the trends, at least in terms of luck, are saying, got to play New England. We've got backup or alternate QB situations here with Trubisky, Bailey Zappi. That just, adds a little bit of uncertainty to the range of outcomes. Could help an underdog. And here's the fun thing. New England, they've only scored 13 points total in their last 3 games, but their average expected score is 14.5. So in other words, from a single game, their average expectation is more than they've scored in the last 3 games. They've actually, been expected to score around 43.5 points in those games. They've just had a lot of bad luck in not scoring. And people, I think, are being too results oriented with this Pats team. The Patriots have outgained their opponent in each of those 3 games by an average of 52 yards. Now they face a Pittsburgh team who has been outgained in 10 of 12 games. So, the Patriots have been able to move the ball. They just have not capitalized and finished those drives. Eventually, they're going to start finishing those drives. And one other trend here, games with a low total below 38, the road dogs are 60% against the spread since 2009 and 154 game sample size. And of course, total here, 30. I love this spot.
I will add, too, in defense of Nick, that he didn't mention, especially in that Chargers game. And Tim, you can attest if you watched, because I know some folks in New England are just done with not watching the games. They had a lot of long fields too. Like their defense played well, but offensively they were never put in a position, or they just had bad field position the whole day. So that doesn't help either. The field position wasn't great. So credit to the punting of the opponents here the last couple of games too. So, okay. You mentioned the total, the trend that the total in relation to the spread, 60% since 2009 when the total's below 38. The total's 30 freaking points here. And this is a luck over. My God, you're going to put yourself through this? Did I tell you what happened when I went to Vegas last year? I mean, it was more competent then with Patricia and Judge. And you're going to play it over in this game.
Yeah. I can't believe we're talking about this game.
We're talking about this game way too much, and Nick Giffen likes it. And I think Kerner, who's coming up next, he likes it too. So stay tuned for Green Dot Daily tomorrow.
I've already single game parlayed the spread and the over here. So, but yeah, this has a luck total of plus 5.4. Luck overs are 3-1 this year, 33 and 18-1 to the over in the last 6 years. That's 64.5%. And last week, the week before, so each of the last 2 Thursday night football games were luck overs, and they both went over. So we could make it 3 in a row here. Also, New England in their last 3 games, remember their opponents, or I should say the totals in these games, 16 total points versus, in the game with Indy, so it was 10-6 versus 34.4 expected. 17 total points in the game against the Giants versus 29.2 expected. And of course, that Chargers game was 6-0. There still were 26.5 expected points in that game based off the way the teams played and moved the ball and stuff. So what actually happened on the field. So that's 39 total points scored in the last 3 games versus 90 expected. 90 divided by 3 is 30. That puts us right where this total is at. And Pittsburgh's kind of like the average offense of those 3 teams. And if you take Indy, New York Giants, and the Chargers offensive DVOA ranks, the average is 19.3. Pittsburgh's 18th. Maybe if we knock them down a spot for Trubisky, they're 19th, something like that. So this game is possibly right where it should be, but I think also there's just been a lot of bad luck involved. So I do like the over here in this one, especially if it ticks down to 29.5. But if it's at 30, still like the over.
You ever have this is like a math class where the teacher or professor will say, you can get the answer wrong, but if you show your work, I'll still give you partial credit. I don't think you're right, and I don't want to think you're right because of this game. I can't watch this.
Why? But I want to know why. Why do you think I'm not right?
No, I but you showed your work, so I think you're.
Or Tim, I'll take it a step further. It's like when you're in college and everyone sucks so bad that they have to put a curve. There's a curve on the grade at the end of the day. Oh, well, with the curve, you actually get a B+ and it helps your resume and you can get into the school you want to get into. Nick, I'm not dumping on the analysis. I'm dumping on you're really going to put yourself through this.
Yeah, of course. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this one.
That's more where I land. I don't think you're necessarily wrong because you're smarter than me. I think at one point something can just be a total aberration, and it's just like they don't even fall into statistics because they're just so bad. They shouldn't even qualify because it's so bad.
I disagree with that. I mean, they've moved the ball better than their opponents the last 3 games, and the scoring has the potential to be there, just hasn't, and that's why this total is dropping and dropping and dropping. So give me the over.
I hope it's entertaining.
Do you care who the running backs are? Najee Harris is banged up. Ramondre Stevenson.
If anything, if Najee Harris is out and it's Jaylen Warren, Jaylen Warren's averaged more than a yard per carry better than Najee Harris each of the 2 years they played together. So if anything, that might help the over.
That is a good point. He's way more pop than Harris. That's a good point.
I agree. And I think Zeke's actually been pretty good. The fact that Zeke has stayed here as long as he has, now the $4 million signing bonus certainly helps, but you get that week 1. All right. I mean, we could do a whole show on this, which is sad.
Well,
okay.
I'll have a nice big write-up on this game for tomorrow, so just check that out.
I am very much looking forward. I have to work tomorrow night during the game, but at halftime when I'm done and it's Bet What Happens Live, I'm assuming you're on it.
Mm-hmm.
You think? Hold on. Tell me what you said before the show started. You think this over hits in midway third quarter?
Yeah, I revised that to early fourth quarter, but somewhere in that range. Somewhere in that range. Good. I don't want to get too hot takey, but
okay. Let's go to Philadelphia and Dallas. Another one that fits the criteria. Where do you stand though? Over, under? What can you tell us?
Yeah, technically, based off our full season numbers, this is a luck under. It has a luck total of -9.8, but there is kind of a reverse trend here. We'll get into that. But the broader luck trend, games with a luck total of less than -5 are luck unders. However, when we get really deep into the season, after week 11, games with a luck total lower than -7.5 are actually 21-12 to the over the last 6 years. So that's 64%, including 2-0 this year. So we might be in reverse signal territory where these teams have gone over so much that that's actually just a signal and not a luck thing. And it's something we're not quite capturing that I'll look to continue to improve to capture going forward. But we're probably in a spot here where the luck rankings and the expected scores aren't adjusting enough for teams that have this type of a profile. So, still something to figure out there. But yeah, the total of 51.5 is pretty high. It did get up to 53 and then came back down to 51.5. I don't know if it'll come back down to 51 or 50.5. Then I may actually look to the over because 51 is such a key number. But probably one I'll just stay away from. These reverse signal ones are always interesting to me, and I don't really have a pick on either the over or the under here for Philly versus Dallas.
Gosh, I honestly wish you the best of luck in betting that Patriots Steelers on over, because listen, I have to, as I was sitting here, I was thinking, I got to check myself. I give a lot of credit to a guy who's contrarian and goes the other way. I jumped down your throat a little too quick, and I should have just said, you know what? I appreciate a guy who goes against what everyone else believes. So I hope it hits for you. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. As you nod your head, I appreciate you.
Yeah.